Callum, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So what is the current landscape of human resources within the sector?
So the current landscape is that at the moment, supply is pretty much meeting demand. But in the next 10, 20 years, with the increase in new build, with the increase in decommissioning, lifetime extension, etc., there's likely to be an increase in demand. And on the supply side, there's likely to be a difficulty because there's uncertainty in hiring because projects may not go ahead. There's also a lot of people coming towards retirement age and a general lack of investment in hiring in the industry in the last 20 years means that we're facing a potential squeeze in human resources in the next 10, 20 years.
So how should the industry go about recruiting more people?
I think the first is the recognition of the fact that 90% of people in a nuclear program or organisation are not nuclear specific. They're not nuclear engineers. They are project managers, technicians, engineers, project managers who could work in any other sector. They're just highly skilled technical people, and attracting those and competing with other industries is a completely different recruitment strategy to hiring nuclear professionals. Separating the two is one strategy to recruit, because one is volume recruitment in a competitive environment. The other is specific recruitment of people that have very rare skills. I think there's an obvious case for more investment. I think that the lack of certainty about what will be needed means that boards will probably not make the decisions to hire people and bring in new graduates and train them, which is very expensive, because they don't know if they're going to need them. And no one wants to be the CEO that hired 500 extra people that weren't needed. And so some certainty about what will be needed would definitely work. And a general investment in the people doing the recruiting on internal teams within human resources. Often it's underinvested. We work with companies who have a remit to hire 200 people this year, and they've got one person managing that from an internal team, and it's not enough. So the investment, it's not difficult, it's not rocket science, but it requires a lot of time and effort. And that time and effort and resources will only be put forward if the board of an organisation really feels that it's important. And so that I'd say is the key to effective recruitment.
And what of development of this new body of people who are coming into the industry?
So we just did a report for women in nuclear and to look at how to attract more women to the industry, to promote more diversity. And we looked at good practice in other organisations. We looked at BP, for example. And they're in schools interfacing with children, not just girls, boys and girls, age 4 and upwards, getting them interested in STEM subjects to increase the pool. So that this development, it starts way before they're in the organisation. But I think that there's the kind of the pre-recruitment development of getting the interest, but then once they're in, I think there's a lot of organisations like the Skills Academy in the UK and Cogent. The IAEA does a huge amount around training and development, and there's a lot of duplication going on, and some more joined up thinking, creating global standards on accreditations and training and development would really help. It would help a lot of the newcomer countries to develop people, because they wouldn't have to reinvent the wheel when looking at their development programs. And even developed countries in nuclear could share best practice. And so I think cooperation around development and learning from other industries and learning from best practice and joining up the efforts of all these organisations that are doing great work in their individual country or scope of remit would really help.
And is there an issue of retention within the sector?
Yeah, I mean there is, because as the industry's been underinvested in, let's say in the last 20 years, there was a big gap in new build, and new build is really what attracts people because it's exciting and it's new technology. People are less attracted to kind of operating roles or to decommissioning, because they see that as as an industry that's not really long term. And so people have left. The reality is a lot of people have gone from nuclear to industries like rail or oil and gas. A lot of other industries they will love to hire people from nuclear, because people that have worked in this kind of environment to these kind of standards are a dream to companies in other industries, other safety culture, high safety culture industries, and so there has been a problem with retention, and also projects tend to go on for a long time. Then there might be a gap between another project. So people might then start becoming bored and wanting to move on. So the kind of things we see that really solve that are things like secondments, joint ventures, international cooperation, where the pool of work can be bigger and people could do interesting work on a more consistent basis and avoid times when they're tempted to leave the industry. There's a core of people that are very, very devoted to the industry, but as I said, nearly 90% of the people in the industry, they could work in any other engineering, technical, high safety culture industry, and there's work to be done, and there's a duty there to keep them wanting to work in the nuclear industry and not assuming that they just will, which is going to become even more important, I think, especially as the learning curve and the time to train people in nuclear is sizable, and to do that and then lose them, it's heartbreaking, and it's very costly, and it discourages it from organisations from doing it again, because they lost the first time, if you like. So there's a lot of opportunity there, and creative ideas to keep people in organisation, good career pathing, these kind of things, good remuneration and flexible working conditions, these kind of things. What people want, what employees want, and we speak with employees across the world, they all want the same thing, really. They want a good working environment and flexible working conditions. Those are the two top motivators. And whether you're Google or whether you're EDF, you can have flexible working conditions and a great working environment that will attract people. And I think there's a big opportunity there.
And finally, what does the future hold?
I think the future holds a lot of cooperation. And for me, that's one of the best things about the nuclear industry, is the willingness of everyone to cooperate. And I believe that the opportunities to attract people to the industry and transition from this, we are safe, don't worry message, to this is a great career opportunity, will offer an opportunity for the industry to really grow and become a prestigious place to work. And I'm very proud to be a part of that, and I hope the future holds a world where people see nuclear as a carbon-free energy source that is incredibly important and good for the environment, and a place where you should be proud to work.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.